Football Unknown.
All right, man. It's been a while. We've been talking for a minute before.
Yeah,
How long have we been talking before we made this all happen?
since like July,
Like
August.
July, yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but finally we're here, man. Before the breaks, and we all like part ways for the Christmas break. So before we start, man, tell everyone about you, about your name and where you're from, and
All right, so my name is SahrFelix Sandy. I'm 23. I grew up in the D.C. area, but my family's originally from Sierra Leone,
oh,
and I'm a recent grad transfer from Temple.
okay. So when did it all start, man? When did you really fall in love with the game of soccer?
Honestly, around the age of 8, because of my dad, because back in Africa, the main sport's soccer. So
Yep.
so throughout like from the age of 8 all the way to like 13, he used to always train me every day, be out there for hours, just kind of going at it, and that's kind of how I fell in love with it.
So you were born in Africa, or you
No, I grew up in DC.
grew up in DC,
Yeah.
and then so you played like locally in DC?
Yeah, so I originally played for a team called NVSC.
Okay.
It's like just a team in Northern Virginia.
Yep.
And then kind of off and on, and then I went to DC United when I was in 6th grade. And I played for DC United from 6th grade all the way up to my senior year of high school.
Wow. So how did DC United get to know who you are, and like?
So back when I was playing for NVSC, our team was ranked like #1 in the country, like
shit.
throughout like my whole youth.
Yep.
And then from there, I was scoring like at least like 2-3 goals like every game. I was playing really well.
What position?
Back then I
Yep.
was like an attacking mid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cause like usually like you want the best players to be on the ball when you're younger. So
Mhm.
back then I was an attacking mid. Used to play forward sometimes, but mostly in the midfield. And then went to a few DC United camps just for fun.
Yep.
Did really well. They tried to bring me to the academy when I was like in like the year before, but at that time like going up and back was like too much.
Yeah, too much for you. Yeah.
And then I remember going there for the first time, and the kids were just so good. I was also playing like 3-4 years up. By that
Oh.
time, but I didn't understand that I was.
Yep.
I remember just being there, and the game felt so fast. So after a while, after that, I was like, "Now let me play one more year."
One more year. Yeah.
And then I went to DC the year afterwards.
Okay. And then how many years did you spend there?
All the way, all middle school, all high school.
Okay. So all
Yeah.
middle school, high school.
Yeah,
Like,
so 5, 6, 7, yeah.
Yep. How did it feel like just entering into that whole different atmosphere and that whole different style of soccer?
To be honest, at that point, I was confident. Before when I was like going there to practice,
Yep.
to like see how it was, I was like, I ain't good enough for this.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to my dad and saying that like these kids were way too good. Like I'm having fun because it's challenging me, but like in my head I was saying I'm not as good as I thought I was. Cause I'm so used to everyone telling me like you're the greatest.
Yeah.
Like, my team was always the best.
Yep.
And then going there, like okay, this is a different level. But then that year that I wasn't there, and now that I was exposed to it, I had an idea of like what I needed to do to get ready.
Yep.
So then when that year came in, like I was confident.
What are some things that you knew you had to work on before you made that jump?
Passing and receiving, it sounds simple, but it's one of those things that when you play at a higher level, like how fast they were thinking and going about it. Like now, like if I was looking at it now, it would look slow to me. But at that time, like the movement off the ball and just being consistent, and also how physical it all was. Because like now I'm a pretty big guy, but when I was younger, I was really small. I was always kind of on the smaller side and real skinny.
Yep.
And I went through like a massive growth spurt one year. So I went from being like one of the smaller guys on the team to be one of the biggest out of nowhere. That's the reason why when I play, people are like, oh, like why don't you like heading? I was like, because I was never big.
Yep.
I was like, I got big, and everyone wanted me to become Benteke. I'm like, no, that wasn't where I was. So yeah.
So when you got there, what was the difference between playing for the #1 team, travel team, and playing for an academy?
At least when I was younger, I didn't realize how many years older everyone was.
Yep.
So maybe that plays a part into why it seems so crazy to me, because everyone's just older and bigger than me.
Yeah.
But at the time, DC United wasn't really one of the best, well-funded academies at the time.
Okay.
So it wasn't like how it is now, where everything's all flashy and nice. Back then, like the turf was like so messed up, like it had rips
Really?
everywhere. It was cool because we got gear and you could go to games and you felt more like a pro. But it was more the way they treated you wasn't too crazy. The training was better, and like you got to fly places. But I could have flown places with my old club team.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is how everyone else treated you. Like when I went to school and I said, "Hey, I play for DC United now," like it meant something.
Yeah.
when I told people that I played soccer, it meant something. It wasn't like, oh, he's just a kid doing it for fun.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he's actually going places.
Wow.
So it's more from how everyone else treated me than how I actually like really felt at the time.
Okay. And then you went there very young, right?
Yeah.
So were you living closer to the area, or were you just driving back and forth?
My parents are separated, so my mom, and I call my technically she's my stepmom, but she's my mom. She's raised me,
Yep.
and I grew up with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's done everything that mother is supposed to. So my non-biological mom and my dad live in Woodbridge, but then my biological mom lives in DC.
Okay.
So but I grew up with my dad.
Yep.
So at first it was always like kind of back and forth, but for us it was normal. And then like sometimes I would be up in DC and I would go to practices from there.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of depended because I also went to part of DCI's residency program also. So my junior year, I lived like in a house in Maryland.
Oh,
and
wow.
then they drove us to practice back and
Yep.
forth. So it kind of depended. But looking back at it now, it was a lot of driving and a lot of miles. My dad had to sacrifice a lot for me to be able to do the things that I've been able to do and get to the place that I'm at. But looking back at it now, I'm just grateful.
Yep.
And now, so hopefully in the future when I have kids, like I kind of know what's expected. Like I can't be complaining about no hour drive.
Yep.
So it's all
Okay.
good now.
Do you think that you playing at DC United, right, especially at a young age, shaped the way you think and the way you move and the way you play as an individual?
Yeah, massively. One thing that I've seen from playing at different levels and different colleges and different teams, the player that you are, usually by the age of 16, is probably who you're going to be for the rest of your life.
Okay.
So I've never really met too many players that like, okay, this person's a dribbler, and then when they're 25, oh, now he's hitting pings, long balls, like on the dime. Like, of course you can improve in those sections, but like your style of play is kind of formed pretty early.
Okay. Yep.
Once you get to a certain level, you have coaches who try to put you in certain positions. Then after a while in practice, you're always doing those things. So after a while, you just keep getting good at them.
Yep.
So I've always been really fast. My dad's a former Olympian.
Oh, shit.
So I've always been really fast. And then growing up, I've always been both-footed too. I've always been left and right because my dad.
Oh, wow.
My,
That's a.
Yeah, because my dad's a lefty.
Yeah.
So I grew up always using my left for everything, even though like naturally I'm a righty.
Wow.
So I end up being kind of both.
Yep.
Yeah, so DC played a massive part because also in the academy they're really big on possession and keeping the ball and keeping it on the ground. So even though like in the college game is like real like physical and stuff, and like I'm a bigger guy now.
Yep.
But like the way I like to play is keep the ball on the ground because that's the way I was raised. And I'm not really into the whole long ball, head, like not really none of that. So yeah, it played a massive role.
When you were playing at DC, what was like the routine, like the routine that you would go through every day playing for that academy?
In terms of when I was in the residency or when I was actually like just driving to practice every day.
So initially, when you were just driving to practice every day and then like just getting a feel of the whole environment.
I guess I'll tell when I was in high school. So I was in high school. So my senior year when I was playing for DC, how my kind of routine was, go to school. I would leave school like an hour early.
Okay.
I would drive to the metro, take the metro from Springfield, which is right outside of DC.
Okay.
Like a 40-minute metro drive from Springfield to DC, walk to practice, get to practice. Usually I would do some type of fitness or thing beforehand.
Okay.
I just try to find a way to get extra touches in.
Yep.
Because with all the traveling, getting extra like work in was actually pretty hard. So from there, practice, go through warm up, do all the drills, whatever. After practice, I'll probably do some shooting with some of my teammates, and then walk back to the metro, take the metro back from DC to Springfield, and drive home. Get back home around like midnight, 12:30.
And then you still got homework, you still got school and all that.
I became. If you took the blue line around that time, you would always see me doing homework on the metro.
Wow.
And just trying to grind everything out. A lot of long nights, and like early mornings, but it all paid off.
It all paid off. And then eventually, when you got the residency, did anything change? Did the routine change?
Yeah, the routine changed massively when I got into residency because then it became woke up early around 6:37, practice for 2 hours in the morning. So it'd either be in the morning with the residency guys or like guys who also go to like first team practices and first team trainings. So you would do that, come back, go to school. After school, you would 3 times out of the week you would go back into DC and train again.
Wow.
And then a lot of times after that we would lift.
Oh,
so you end up training like 2-3 times a day.
Yep.
Which I think was like the greatest thing because the amount of touches like an extra work that I was able to get in because of that like helped me so much. The school there was really, really hard.
Really?
Like the school there was hard. Like
So they made sure they made you guys.
Yeah, they worked us. After the year, I was like, no mas, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But like that year, my junior year, where I was able to do that consistently, I developed so much.
Really?
Yeah.
So, your senior year of high school, right?
Mhm.
Senior year of high school, and then it was time to move
Mhm.
to get to do something bigger. What was that?
Growing up, I never really thought too much about the whole college thing. In my head, I was like, I just want to go and play pro. I just want to go and play. But my family takes education really, really seriously. Both my moms, my dad, they both really wanted me to go to college. And my dad always says, makes a joke saying he kind of wished on my downfall. He kind of wished I didn't go pro because he really wanted me to like get the experience of going to college.
Yep.
I was highly recruited come out of high school, but my dad ran track collegiately, but no one in my family really knew how the whole process worked. So I would get emails from like Virginia Tech, Clemson, Notre Dame, all these big schools. I wouldn't answer any of them.
You get like personal texts or so. Wait. Let's distinguish this, right?
Yeah.
So there's just the academy ID camps, and then there's like the invitations.
No, they would call me and be like, what's it called? Michigan State wanted me really, really bad.
Wow.
And they would like beg me to go on a visit and like fly up there.
Really?
But like I'm young. I don't know how college works. I didn't know what ACC, all these different conferences stuff is.
That is true, man.
At DC United now, they explain the kids this stuff. But back then, it was kind of like you're on your own.
Wow.
So I'm getting all these emails and calls. Because I was one of the youngest players to play Generation Adidas Cup. It's kind of like where all the MLS teams came together.
Yep.
And play each other.
Yep.
What's it called? I think I was the youngest players to play. I played super well against a bunch of different teams, and ever since then, and I think I scored like four or five goals during the tournament. I was one of the highest goal scorers.
Yeah. I mean, you were just playing, man. Just having fun playing the game.
Yeah, so I was just playing. So I didn't really realize how this whole thing worked.
Yep.
So then it came to the end, and then a lot of schools that were offering me at first are now like we still take you, but we're not going to give you as much because now we've been giving away money because you've been ducking us.
Yeah.
Which, looking back at it now, makes sense. So then I had a decision of either going to the three schools I narrowed it down to were Virginia Tech, Marshall, and Clemson.
Okay. Three really big schools too, man.
Yeah. So, well, first I committed to Marshall.
Okay.
But then I went on a visit there, and I was like, I don't really like this place that much. But they offered me a full ride, and I knew like the team was going to become good because the coach was like real driven of how he wanted it to be, and the facilities were nice. But then I went to a camp to go to Clemson just because I saw a YouTube video of like Clemson looked cool.
Yeah.
Like, as you know, I didn't know anything. So I went to a camp there, went there. One thing that's cool that Clemson does, I'm not sure if they still do it now, but the campers play the actual team at the end of the camp.
Wow.
So like you play scrimmages against like just the campers. Then you put like a all-star team and you play the actual team. So I went and played the actual team, and like I was killing the outside back the whole day.
Really?
And like their teammates were like complaining, saying, "Why are you letting this kid do this to you?" Blah blah blah.
Damn.
So after the Clemson camp ended, the Coach Noonan calls me, my dad, over, and basically says like your son's really good. We want him. Basically offered me a full ride.
He offered you a full ride right there at the camp.
But I already was committed to Marshall, and I didn't tell him that because I didn't know that was a big deal.
I don't even know it's a big deal. So it was a big deal?
Yeah, it wasn't. I guess that's not how the coach like to go about things. So, but Clemson didn't have the money for me. Because he asked me then, he was like, how much money would you need? And I was like, Marshall, well, I've been offered full rides. He was okay, we'll match that. And so he was asking me, but he was like, we don't have the money now. Could you go to Montverde? Or it's like a prestigious like academy or like school. I think it's in Florida too, maybe.
Oh shit.
So he wanted me to go there for a year. He sends a lot of Clemson kids go there, like international kids go there for a year before they go to Clemson. But at that time, you see all your friends going to college and doing different things.
Yeah, you wanna commit too, man.
Yes, I want to go. So older me now would have went to Montverde.
Really?
And went there for the year.
Yep.
And then went to Clemson. But at that time, I'm telling my dad, I don't want to. And then so Clemson calls DC United and says, we really want this kid. How can we find out how can we get him? And my coach tells the coach like he's committed to Marshall. So the Clemson coach calls me and says, hey, we found out you were committed to Marshall. We wish you would have. We wish you would have told us that. We can't speak to you anymore unless you decommit. And
that's kind of risky, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was risky. So I ended up just choosing the safer option. Went to Marshall and then kind of played out from there.
So you went to Marshall.
Yeah.
How was it? initially going into Marshall, playing D1 because obviously it was a D1 and a highly noticed D1 school.
Yeah.
How was it entering into that?
Coming in, I was really confident because I came from being one of the biggest players in my academy.
Yep.
Being highly recruited, like I knew that like
You were valued.
I knew that I was valued.
Yeah.
And Marshall's bringing me in as like a star player. So I knew I had a lot of expectations, but I was really confident in myself.
Mm-hmm.
Got there. I did not enjoy the school at all, if I'm being honest. It's a real rough area, a lot of racism, a lot of crazy things happen there. The soccer program was nice.
Yep.
The way the coaches treated us, how the school treated us, the facilities were all good. We traveled well. We had good gear.
Yep.
But once you left that and you had to be a regular student, like the whole area, like it wasn't a place that you would want to be for 4 years.
Really?
So I knew instantly once I got there, I'm here for one season, I'm out.
Really?
So in my head, I was like, how can I play well enough so when I leave, I have somewhere to go?
Mm-hmm.
So I get the preseason. I'm playing well. I feel comfortable. Like I'm doing my thing, and then we play like an inter squad scrimmage, and I tear my hamstring. Like I tear it bad. So I tear my hamstring. The coaches are looking at me like look at this kid. Like now he's hurt. Blah blah blah. So I tear it. And one thing I learned pretty early on how different college is than academy because you have so many games so close. So if you miss 2 weeks, that's like 4, 5, 6 games. So I tear my hamstring, but I'm young, so I'm like, you know what? I want to play. So I'm trying to come back and play. I'm a guy whose game's really based off of speed, taking guys 1v1. I can't take no one 1v1 because I can't dribble, because I can't run. So I'm struggling. I'm not fully healing because I'm playing while my body trying to heal.
Yep.
I'm the only true freshman to really play because at Marshall we don't really sub. So I'm the only true freshman that really plays. So like looking back at it, that was a good thing because I was like only really young kid that was getting minutes. While also at the same time, like I didn't play nearly as well as like I knew I could have if I would have been healthy.
At full health, right? Yep.
Part of that was my fault because I realized that I probably didn't come into preseason fit enough. Because college fitness is different than high school fitness.
Okay.
And no one really explained that to me because I guess I know we had a new coach, so no one really knew how it was going to be. But like, I needed to be a whole lot fitter, and I was still really skinny, so I didn't have the muscle on me to really handle the college game. So went there. I was like a 15, 20-minute guy. I would come in like for the end of each half for like 10, 15 minutes, and I would just like try my best with my hurt leg, and then kind of play. The coaches really believed in me. Once the fall season ended, the coach asked for a lot of players to leave. He was like, "I don't think you have to leave," but he came to me saying, "I really want you to stay." Saying that he believed in me because I would do well in training sessions, but when you made the pitch a little bit bigger, I couldn't run.
Yeah. So,
and towards the end of the season, I started becoming more healthy. So he was like, "I really like you as a player. I want you to stay." But I was kind of set in my ways, and he was like, "Yeah, I heard from other guys that you were thinking about leaving." I was like, yeah, I'm gonna leave. The head coach, I never heard him say anything bad about me, but some of the assistant coaches were kind of talking trash, saying that, like he thinks he's gonna go somewhere better. Like there's no way. He think he can go to Clemson, like he's not a Clemson player.
Damn.
All this different stuff. So that kind of gave me more like motivation to really
perform and leave, right?
Yeah, perform and go.
So before you left Marshall, you being being a student at Marshall, what are some like difficulties and challenges and things you faced in that aspect?
Being a student at Marshall, honestly, academically is really, really easy.
Okay.
Because like the school is not that difficult. Especially from coming from Residency when I was at Calverton with DC.
Yep.
That school was really hard. So coming to Marshall was really easy for me.
Okay.
And it wasn't that hard. So the hardest part was more like mentally. Like people talk about it a lot more now, but I guess back then it wasn't really spoken about like mental health and stuff. And like my roommate became like my best friend, but at the time like just feeling like you're stuck, and also like everyone at that school can tell has never really been anywhere, ever has had like real conversations about like how life works and like how things can be, so really closed-minded. And then also being like a person of color there was really hard because of like how like racist everyone was. Really? So, because even now when you look at Marshall, like players will talk really high about the soccer program because I don't really have any negatives to talk about the soccer program because like I was treated well when I was there, And then if I wasn't hurt, I wish I could have gave more to them, but it is what it is.
Yep.
But the school itself is hard. The area is hard to be there. Like, you see a lot of guys transfer in and out. You rarely see guys be at that school for all 4 years.
Yep.
Most guys don't go there for their degree. They transfer in, they stay for a couple years and they're gone.
Yep.
Or like they're there for a couple years and then they leave. There's not too many guys who are like straight guys who've been there like the whole time. So it's difficult.
So after that, you said that after the year, you moved on. Where did you go from there?
So and then I transferred to Elon. I still didn't really understand the whole recruitment process stuff.
Yeah.
So looking back at it, would I've gone to Elon? Yeah, maybe yeah. But I had offers from a lot of different ACC schools and stuff. They just weren't full rides, and I kind of just wanted to follow the money.
Yeah.
So and I didn't want to be in debt. And I would tell most kids now that usually if like you should follow the money, because usually where the money is where like you'll be valued the most.
Yep, that is true. Yep.
But like I had some other places like Virginia Tech, and like other places where like maybe the money wasn't as high and it wasn't a full ride. But
the exposure and the experience and
and also I wouldn't be paying that much.
Yeah.
Like in my head, I would hear like an amount and be like, to me, 5,000 was a lot, because I was like, wow, like 5,000 for school.
Yeah.
I didn't understand how money really worked. So in my head, 5,000 was a lot. But like now looking back at it, 5,000 was nothing.
Yeah, it was nothing.
Yeah. So, but I went to Elon. I loved Elon.
Really?
Elon, it flipped. The school I loved.
Yep.
And the soccer I didn't like.
Okay.
So then it kind of flipped because I came from Marshall that was real keep the ball on the ground, pass. So I assumed that most colleges this is how it is.
Yep.
Because this is where because Marshall, we never like play kickball. It was always on the ground, always possession. So in my head, I'm like, okay. And also came from academy where it was always like that.
Yep.
So in my head, I'm like, okay.
So your whole life.
So I'm like, this is how probably college is going to be.
Yep.
After Elon, it was totally different. It was kick, run. SahrFelix make 40-yard runs in behind.
Oh my God.
Got there, was playing really well. Got hurt. We were playing Atlanta United in the spring. So one of our teammates, his dad owns Atlanta United.
Oh, okay.
So we go there in the spring a lot. So we went to go play them. The whole spring, I'm playing so well. Like everyone's coaches are like so excited. They treat me like I'm Cristiano. Like you would think that I'm like the best player ever the way they're treating me.
Really?
Yeah. Like I was by far one of the favorites. So I'm there. I'm playing well. First game against Atlanta, I like tear my groin. It was like freezing cold, and like it was actually against Miles Robinson.
Okay.
The U.S. national team player who plays for I think he still plays for Atlanta now.
Okay.
The center back. So, cause they had a bunch of guys. Because it was against Atlanta, and I say like a bunch like the guys there. So, I was making a running behind, and I went and like tried to body him off, and for some reason like my leg just planted weird, and it's like my groin just like snapped. I was on crutches for like 2 months.
Man.
Yeah, so it's like, man, I really can't catch a break.
Yep. So let's recap this.
Yeah.
You joined Elon.
Yeah.
And in preseason, getting used to everything, you were playing well. Everyone treating you well.
This is in the spring.
It's in the spring.
This
the
is
spring
spring.
season. You're doing well. And then fall season.
Coming fall season, first few games of preseason, I get like, I think I have like a goal and like 2 assists.
Wow.
And I'm playing well.
Yep.
We go and we play, I think it was Vermont. I don't start that game. But I play like 60 minutes. I'm still playing really well.
Yep.
We play FIU. I start.
Okay.
I go. I'm running. It was like 110 degrees. It was crazy hot.
It was crazy hot.
So I'm going and like.
And it was in Miami, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. This is North Carolina.
Oh, North Carolina. Okay.
Yeah. So like I'm making a running behind like the last like 10 minutes of the game. Like I'm dying. I'm asking my coach to bring me off, and he's like, no, like we need you to stay in. I make running behind, my hamstring goes.
Damn.
And then I keep playing. I'm like in and out.
You keep playing after you felt that hamstring?
Yeah, because now the pressure's a lot because now he's like, is this man injury prone? Like you're on full money, and he's like guilting me saying like you're on, like the assistant coach talking to me, guilting me saying you're on all this money, like why can't you play? Like we need you to play, and this is taking a while to heal.
Yeah,
especially because of how well I was playing before. they had a lot of plans for me. So even when I'm hurt, they're still starting me.
Damn.
And the games I don't start is for me just telling them like I physically can't go. So like I would start, sit out a couple games, start a couple games, sit out, play, start.
Yeah.
So I was kind of in and out. But my sophomore year though, I feel like either way I wouldn't have played that well.
Okay.
Even though I did well in the preseason, I was still too skinny. I was too weak.
Okay.
To where like I would have had a decent season, but would I've done like crazy well? I honestly don't think so. I don't think I was ready.
Okay.
Going into my sophomore spring, I became like a gym head. Like I like lifted, got stronger.
Wow. Okay. That's good, man.
Became like the best version of myself. I went from like 155 pounds to like 185, 190.
That's good
Like
for
like over a semester.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then what was that around the same time you just it was a growth sprout happened or
No, the growth spurt happened when I was like right before I left high school.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of these injuries that I got came from my growth spurt. So like I grew a lot right before I got out of high school.
Yep.
And my body never really adjusted to the amount of like inches I grew.
Yeah,
so then
okay, I see it. Yep, I see it.
I was pulling things left and right
Yeah.
because I wasn't
You weren't used to it.
I wasn't pulling this stuff back when I was at DC, but as soon as
Yep.
I started growing, it was like hamstring pull, groin pull, hamstring pull, groin pull. Even the way I ran like a tall, lanky guy. Like if you compare the way I ran my freshman, sophomore year now,
Yep.
I was still fast, but it wasn't smooth to how I run now. It's a big difference.
Wow.
So I was getting a lot of injuries, and then I didn't really have anyone around me that, at least in college, I fully understood that.
Yeah, and to like really guide you,
Yeah.
right?
Because then I had to figure that out on my own.
Okay.
That like, hey, like my hamstrings are too weak. Like my quads and groins are like too weak.
Yeah.
Like my body can't handle playing at this level for too long. Because then like yes, I play well.
Yep.
But like my body snaps after a certain point. Like I'm gonna pull
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
And that's the reason why I started doing research on my own.
And also, man, like you're playing at Elon, and the coaches really want you to play.
Yeah.
So you're like the star guy, so they're really putting pressure on you. Really
Yeah.
want you to play 24/7. So it's like
yeah, they're putting a lot of pressure on me. So like
so you started going to the gym, became
Yeah.
the gym head.
yeah, like I would like lift for the team, practice with the team, practice on my own again, lift like at night,
Yep.
and I was just eating like all the time, just trying to get stronger and bigger. And it helped me so much. Like the level that I was, there's a big gap between my level my sophomore year and my junior year. There was like a huge gap.
Wow. Okay.
To
Tell
where
me about that.
Yeah, to where I just became like a workaholic. Like I was just watching like a lot of Kobe videos and like Mamba mentality, all this different stuff. So I was just going just trying my best just to like improve. So like I became that's probably when I was playing my best soccer.
Wow.
And I improved a lot. And then once my junior year came, I was going crazy. Like I was like during preseason, I was playing well. Everything was playing well.
And you were healthy?
I was healthy.
Okay.
The coach were telling me like in my head, my junior year, I was like okay, like I'm gonna get drafted.
Wow.
Like
okay.
maybe I was thinking too big of myself, but at that time I was playing that well.
Yep.
To where like at the very least, I like maybe drafting may have been pushing it, but like at the very because a lot of things going to get to that happening.
Yeah.
But at the very least, like I would have got like second team all CAA, first team all CAA. Like I was playing super well. Like beating guys 1v1 consistently. I was strong, blah, blah, blah. We play, and this is when my worst injury happened because we're playing Davidson. And in the warm-up, like my groin's feeling kind of tight. And like in the back of my head, I probably think I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't play this.
Yeah.
But I just been playing so well.
And the pressure.
And the pressure,
play.
like, because the way it would work is that like I will play well, and I'll get a lot of pressure put on me in meetings from him and talking to me. And then after I get hurt, it kind of lay off. And then I'll get healthy again, start playing well again. And he starts seeing like, wow, like what type of player can you be? Because I fit what he was looking for. I fit it like kind of perfectly. Like I was big, I was strong, I was fast. I was both foot. I can go 1v1. So I fit what he wanted in a soccer player. But I was hurt.
Yeah. So in his head, you were a little inconsistent.
Yeah.
But he didn't really get that it was just like it was just a little too much for you at that time.
Like for him, he would view me as like he'd be like, oh, he's playing inconsistent. But no, like I would go from being healthy, and I'll have stretches where I'm like, if I'm healthy, I kill. But then once I'm not healthy, my game is based off of me being quick and burst. So if I can't run, and if I throw a step over and I can't push off, I can't do what you're asking me to do.
Yeah.
So then that's when my worst injury happened. Played Davidson, and some guy like undercuts me, and my body kind of like flips in the air. And while I'm flipping the air, it's like I got shot in my groin, like bop bop, and it's like the whole thing just like it blew up, like my leg turned kind of purple, and
no.
that one I couldn't even play through. That one I was out. I missed the first 7 games,
Wow.
like 7 games, and I just couldn't play, and I was still hurt.
Yeah.
And then by the time, and then the next 3 games I was playing. When I came back, I played the next 3 games pretty well, and then we played, I think, Hofstra. And this was a game that after this game, I was probably going to start afterwards and become a consistent starter. That's time I wasn't fully healthy, but I was healthy enough to where I can go out there and I can do the job and I can play well. And then he brings me in second half. I played the whole half, all overtime. And then something happens where me and the outside back don't exchange like people well enough.
Yeah.
And then I guess when one guy on our side like kind of puts in a cross. And they score.
Yep.
And then looking back at the tape, if I look back at it now, it wasn't my fault. But at that time,
you thought.
Well, I know at the time I knew it wasn't my fault.
Oh, okay.
But I knew, but he blamed it on me. So he blamed it on me. He had like a talk with me. He was like, because also I know the way he is, because he did it with a bunch of other players too. Where if you made a mistake. And if he thought it was your fault, like a critical moment, then you're kind of in the dog pen for then.
Yeah.
And then once that happened, I kind of like afterwards, I came from like about to start and like playing consistently to where like I was back kind of like at square one.
Man.
At that time, other guys were playing well also. So.
And then that was your junior year?
Yeah, that was my junior year.
Man. So you were playing so well at the beginning of the season. You know, you were on the path of, for new higher goals.
Yeah.
Looking to get drafted at that point. And then that happened.
Yeah.
What was in that? And then that was in the fall semester?
Yeah, fall.
So what happened in the spring? Did you remain with the guys? And
so after that season, when I got hurt, that's my one. Loki wanted to give up. I was like, man, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
I was like, I put in all this work.
And it's injury after injury.
I started playing well, and then it's like, I can't catch a break.
Yeah.
Like in the spring, when I'm supposed to be healthy, like when like I could get hurt, doesn't matter. I'm healthy.
Yeah.
In the fall, I'm hurt. So like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. But then COVID hits. So then once COVID hits, we all, as you know, we all got sent home. Being around my family kind of helped a whole lot.
Okay.
I'm working out. I'm training. My dad's taking me out sometimes, and then just training, getting ready with a lot of other college players. There's a lot of D1 players in my area.
Okay.
So we all are training together over COVID and stuff.
And you had time to heal.
Yeah. Right? And like that's the thing. I had a lot of time to heal.
Yep.
So at that point, COVID, they say that you can leave school and they give it like the extra year.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, okay, cool.
Wow.
I'm leaving Elon. Because
it's
one of those things where I'm graduating early. You know what? I'm gonna give it one last try. And if I'm gonna do this, I need to go to like a school. All the time at Elon, we weren't really playing the best. We were playing a style of play that I didn't really agree with.
But you happen to fit perfect.
I am to fit perfect in his head.
Oh, in his head, okay.
In his head, but in my head, It wasn't me.
It wasn't you, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So we're playing a style of play that I don't really want to play.
Okay.
Nor do I feel like it brings the best out of me.
Okay.
At this point now, me and the coach really aren't seeing eye to eye. On a lot of different accounts, but this happens. It's not really with me. It's more like with a lot of players.
Yeah.
Because I was more on the quiet side. I didn't really speak that much, but
you were observing, man.
Yeah. So then I was like, you know what? I think it's time for me to go. I'm about to graduate, so you know what? Let me go somewhere and just kind of like bet on myself.
Yep.
So like the spring comes, and then I have a few different options. I like Loyola Marymount. I was talking to like FAU, like a few different schools. But then DC United invites me to go on a trial with Loudon, like their second team.
Okay.
So I'm weighing both of that. I'm like, you know what? Like, if I can go to this trial and do well and go to preseason, then like maybe I can just go and do that route.
Yeah. The pro riders. Yeah.
Yeah. So I go. I do that, and then the coach kind of has a conversation with me saying that basically I told him that I was kind of between this and going to college, and then for him it's kind of like you kind of have to be all in, which was fine with me. But then he also said like, hey, like he's kind of honest with me saying like, hey, like playing time would be kind of hard because we're focusing mainly on our younger guys.
Yep.
So I was like, man, like I'm not gonna go into an environment where like I could get my master's and get my master's mostly paid for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I might as well like go to school and see it and see how this can go.
Yep.
And then that's how I ended up at Temple.
So then you chose Temple.
Well, I chose Temple pretty late. Because
you were still, it came to the last minute.
Yeah.
And then,
Because
okay.
it was between Santa Clara, Northwestern, and Temple. At first, I was supposed to go to Northwestern. But then Northwestern coach retired. And then a new coach came in.
Yep.
I guess he spoke to my Elon coach, and then he was really high on me. My Elon coach was saying certain things that he didn't really like, and then he was like, "You're on our list." He was like, "If we can't get this guy committed, then like the money and the spot will go to you." And I was like, "Okay, well," 'cause that's where I really wanted to go, because like academically it's a top school, and then soccer wise in the Big Ten, and they play, and like that coach is like the way they play is the way I would want to play.
Yeah.
So then it was between Santa Clara, and I was going to go to Santa Clara. I was basically almost committed. And then I was on the way to a game with my summer team, like on the bus, and then I had a Zoom call with them and the rest of the coaching staff. And basically what they were telling me was saying that we really want you. We think you would fit well. You fit our solid play.
Yep.
I think it would be a great fit. But then we ran into some complications because they wanted me to play wing back. And
wing back.
Yeah. And for me, like at a pro level, I would play wing back. I'll play anywhere. I'll play goalkeeper if they put me there. But like at college, I was like, like if I'm really trying to play at the next level, like go all the way to California. Yes, this is a great school, but all the way go to California to play wing back. Yeah. And also the coach told me too, he's like, hey, I'm known for being a defensive coach. And at Elon, we were a defensive team. Okay. So that's why even Elon now, like I think they have the most shutouts in the NCAA. We're known as being a very defensive team. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm an attacker. I'm trying to get noticed. I'm not
trying to run up the stats, man.
Yeah.
To get to that draft.
So like, how am I going to score goals and get assists
if I'm playing left wing back?
If I'm playing left wing back, and I'm defending the whole time, you know what I mean? Yeah. So the only way like that could work out if I know for a fact this team's going to finish top 25 and make a run in the tournament. Yeah. But Santa Clara was kind of up and down at the time. They ended up having a really good season, but they were up and down at the time.
Yeah, it was risky.
It was risky, and it was all the way in California too. Yeah. So I had to move everything. Yeah. Figure out how to get all the way over there. So then my ODC United coach talked to Temple for me. He was like, "This could be an option." And the Temple coach called me and said, like, "This is relay in the process. Our roster's pretty full. I'm not sure how this fall is going to work." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Okay, well," I was like, I got into their grad program. And there was a good grad program, so I was like, "No, I'm just gonna go." Yeah. And then once the season's over in the spring, I'll join, and that's basically what happened.
Okay, so you went to Temple, and how was both the schooling side, the student side, and the athletic side?
School side, hard but good, because I'm in grad school, so now instead of being around kids from 18 to 22, like people are like 45 and up in my classes. So I'm around like full grown adults. Wow. Yeah. So I like it. Like I'm learning a lot. The course load and the workload's a whole lot. A lot of late night studying and grinding, and really have to put in really like a lot of effort to really do well.
What are you studying?
Financial analysis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So like the whole investment banking, corporate valuation route. Yeah. So I'm doing a lot of work. I'm working hard. The soccer side's going well too. At this point, I'm struggling. Like, not really. More on the mental side, because I went from. In the spring when I wasn't with DC, I wasn't really with a team anymore. Okay. So the spring and summer I wasn't really with the team. I was just training on my own. So I basically went 6-7 months without really playing. Okay. So when I came and in the fall, I couldn't play that season. So I was like, I'm just gonna focus on grad school. So that whole fall, I wasn't really playing that much either. So in the spring, the first few weeks, I'm struggling. Like, the game feels fast. Before, college soccer was slow to me. Like, I was complaining about in my head. Like,
because you were at the peak, man. You were in.
So that at this point, I feel like I'm like, man, I'm at the bottom of the roster. Yeah. Which I'm not used to. So like, but in my head though, I was like, I'm just gonna keep working, keep grinding. Like, I know what the best of me is. I just have to find a way to bring that out and like just keep working. And I know like I've done it before, so sooner or later it's gonna come. But it's trying to keep my confidence till that day happens. And that's kind of how I started like my whole TikTok page and everything like that. Yeah. So the whole spring goes. Each day becomes better and better. And then our games come. The first 2 games I'm ineligible to play because NCAA stuff makes no sense.
So let's talk about this.
Mm.
You were training with the team, getting back in shape, getting back
Yeah,
fit, right?
yeah.
Back at your peak, back at your
Yeah.
form, and then come the first game,
Yeah.
first away game, travel with the team, warming up, and then at that point, no one's telling you that you're ineligible to play.
Yeah. This was a home game this time.
Oh, it's a home game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm warming up, like really excited. Like this will be my first game back.
Okay.
Like I'm excited. I was training well that week leading up.
Yeah.
My whole family's coming to watch me play.
Yeah.
They're all driving up. Like my ex-girlfriend was there. Everyone was there. So, and then right before the game starts, coach says, SahrFelix, come over, and I jog over midway through warm up. He says like, you can't play.
Man.
Yeah. And then he says like, he doesn't even really give me a reason. He says you can't play. And then I'm like, okay.
So at that point, you're thinking, like, am I just not cut for this? Am I not good enough for them? Like,
Well, at that point I wasn't even thinking I'm not good enough. At that point I was more angry like, why isn't this done yet? And then more and more embarrassed because like my whole family came.
Yeah.
And like my friends came to watch this game because everyone knew how much it meant to me.
yeah.
That like I've been working so hard.
And first came back, man.
And like I've been like, this is like my first real stint. I've been healthy the whole, like I was healthy like that from that fall to that whole spring. I was healthy the whole time. No injuries, not even a feeling of an injury.
Wow.
I'm training every day. I'm playing 11s. I'm doing everything. I'm healthy the whole time.
Yep.
So everyone knew how much it's meant to me to finally be like, I can actually give my best now.
Yeah.
And then he tells me right before the game, my family's in the stands like I jog over, I tell him like, hey, like just to let you guys know, like I can't play. Damn. So they end up leaving like after half. Like my dad and my mom stay, but the rest of my family they leave like around halftime and they go back to DC. So that was pretty hard, because I was looking forward to it, and then I ended up having to miss the next game after that too.
Wow.
And then I got cleared the third game.
Okay, so you got cleared the third game.
Yeah.
So that second game that you weren't able to play, was that the time that you really understood why you weren't able to play, and it wasn't just you, but it was just the whole paperwork and all that?
Yeah, by the second game, I started to figure out that like people weren't doing their jobs correctly, and then because at first I didn't really know that, but then my teammates would come to me and say like, this happened. It wasn't just me. It happened to like other guys before in the past, saying like compliance here isn't really the best.
Yeah.
And like stuff here happens really slow. Even like the coaches were saying that like, yo, like things like this happen a lot here, like just be patient, blah blah blah, which I didn't really want to hear. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you know what, like this is something that's out of my control.
Yep. And telling you be patient, man, you were like working so hard for that.
Yeah.
And then to finally be there to be like, you could understand it, but at the same time, man, you want to play.
Yeah. So it was like be patient, but it's kind of like I've been patient for the past however many years.
Yeah.
And then now everything's kind of adding up where I'm strong, I'm fit, I've been training, I'm in a good environment.
Yep.
I'm confident, and then it's kind of
fit and everything.
Because now at this point now, before each part of my journey, there's kind of parts where I'm like, oh, I'm missing this, and I feel like, okay, everything's kind of coming together. Everything's coming together.
Yeah.
To where now I just have to get on the field.
Yeah.
So missing those first two games was hard.
Yep. So then during that whole paperwork before you got cleared, that's when you made the TikTok and started going hard with the TikTok.
I made the TikTok as soon as my first practice ended. My first practice ended in the spring.
Okay.
I played well, but in my head I was like, wow, this is kind of fast.
Yeah.
Like I was able to hide it where if you would have watched the practice, like, oh, like he did well. But within my head, I was like, usually when I'm at practice for like my other college teams, I'm chilling, like I'm just passing, doing my thing. But this one, I had to be focused.
Wow.
Like I was like focusing hard to like do well.
Yeah. So you were keeping up, and everyone saw you were keeping up, but in your head you knew you could have been way better. You could have been doing way more.
Yeah, it's where like I wasn't relaxed. I wasn't like playing was stressful.
Yeah.
That whole spring playing was stressful.
Wow.
Like towards the end of it started to calm down, but most of that spring, each practice was stressful for me.
Yep.
I was like, wow, like I'm not sure about this. So I made the TikTok to kind of help with that and kind of like boost confidence and kind of give myself something else to think about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so tell me about the whole TikTok, man, and how you blew up and where it is now.
Yeah, so I first started off, I didn't tell anyone about it except for my dad.
Yep.
Didn't tell any of my friends. So I was like, you say TikTok, sometimes some people look at it like it's cringy
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. So I was like, you know
Yeah.
what, like I'm gonna keep it to myself, and I think that I can make videos that are going to be cool for people to watch. Because at Elon, I did YouTube. My
Okay.
first video on YouTube got like 50,000 views.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Your first video.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it about?
Like all day in the life. Same thing as my TikTok, day in the life. So
Ah.
it's like 50,000, 10,000, 8,000. I was getting a lot of views, but back then you couldn't make money off NIL.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is too much work. So then for like no really like I get views, okay, cool, but like
But
that's
you can't
kinda,
really benefit from it.
yeah.
Right?
So I kind
Yeah.
of gave up. So I was like, you know what, TikTok's easier. Me and my sister went viral over COVID doing like brother sister dances.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, we got like 50,000 followers like in like 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what, like I don't want to do this dance stuff no more. So that
Yeah.
page I gave it to my little sister. I was like, you can go and do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this will be all about soccer content and like just my life. And I was
Yeah.
like, push come to shove, no one doesn't get any views. I like it. I can look back at it 10 years from now and look at it for memories.
Yep.
So I started doing like day in the life stuff. And then the first full day in the life video I posted got like 1.4 million views. And then people were asking questions about how does this work? How does this work?
Yeah.
So I just kept posting like, this is what I do. This is how I train. This is how my life, like motivational stuff.
Yep. And that's when you're beginning to see that people are really tuning in for it. And
Yeah.
you can really help people.
Yeah. I'm getting DMs from kids left and right asking like
Wow.
how like, oh, I think you're so cool. I really look up to you.
Wow.
Like, how can I be in your position?
Yep.
People from abroad inside the States, even people in Philly are like coming up to me and asking questions like, hey, like I've seen your videos. People at school are like, I watch your videos, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
So then it became like a real good, like, it became like a real happy place for me at the time.
Yeah.
Where I can like kind of share my story and kind of share like what I do. And hopefully people can take something from it.
Yep. And while you're still playing, you're still
Yeah.
playing. Yep.
Because you can only play for so long. 'Cause also, being injured for so long made me really grateful for being able to play.
Yep.
So like
Yep.
now, like showing up at the practices and going to all these different things, like I'm grateful I can even go. Because I went through a long spurt where either I was hurt, COVID hit, all these different things where I wasn't able to do any of these things.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm healthy, I can play. I'm like, you know what? Like I really want to show my journey and show, even if for our videos, so I can show my kids later in the future, like,
Yeah.
hey, like this is what your dad used to do. This
Yep.
is how like your dad was a good player. So let's say my soccer journey ends today. I have videos and I can show my kids. It's not like you know how dads are sometimes. They're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Hey, man, I was
back in my day, but you have no proof.
Yep.
Like no, every time I do something, I have proof.
Yep.
You'll see
They-
training sessions, games, all that stuff. You'll see everything.
They talking shit. You just show them. Yeah. You look.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
no, your dad was good.
Mm-hmm.
So, cause I always wish that I could have saw videos of my dad back in the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
Of like I've seen pictures and I've seen videos of him running, but like, I wish I could have seen like more.
Yeah. More of him
Like
and
more
more
of
his journey,
him.
right?
Yeah, cause that would have been really really nice to
Mhm.
kind of, cause I can hear through stories from his friends and everything, but it's different when you can physically
You can
see.
see it. Yeah.
So it's something that I really wanted to be able to show, and people ended up being attached to it, ended up liking it,
Okay.
and ended up blowing to where it is now, to where like I'm making good money from it, I get sponsors from it and everything,
Wow.
and I want to continue doing it.
Okay. Shout out the TikTok since we're on it.
Yeah.
Come on,
So which camera?
Whichever. This one right here.
So it's SahrFelix, so SahrFlex_27,
Yes, sir.
and that's where you can find everything from me, either that or SahrFelix27.
Nice. So at that point, it was your last year at Temple.
Yeah,
Or-
so I'm in my spring. I'm in my spring of my first year at Temple.
Okay.
And that's kind of making videos. I'm playing well. Last 3 games, we had played our last 3 games. I play really well. I had my end of the year meeting with our coach.
Mm-hmm.
He went from like not really, I didn't know what he was going to say because he didn't really speak to me. He's like, wow, like you played super well. Like your stock's going up within our program.
Yep.
He's like, you're going to play a really, really big part. Basically telling me everything that I would want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Saying like how great I've been in the games. How at first he didn't really expect much from me because of how I was playing at first, which I understood. I wasn't playing well.
Yep.
But then he's like, in the games, like you gave us a dimension that we haven't really had, and I think that like you'll like you're gonna have a great fall this upcoming year. Just make sure like over the summer you're training your butt off and doing your thing.
Yep.
So I hear that, and off of how I was playing, I'm like, wow, like if I can get like a summer of like me just grinding and
Running it out,
working.
yeah.
So instead of going home in the summer, I stay in Philly. So I work with the strength conditioning coaches to do conditioning. I work with the strength coaches for my lifting and everything. I'm training. I'm like on a boot camp that whole summer, just like training. I improved so much. So by the time it comes to practice, I feel the greatest I've ever felt.
Wow.
No injuries, nothing. I'm feeling great. I'm playing. I'm fit. Do well in the fitness test, all that stuff. So go into preseason. I'm playing well. Doing really great things. During that summer, now that I don't have school, I'm posting a lot more on my TikTok. So that grows by like 20-something thousand followers over the summer. I get posted on Barstool, ESPN, all these different places.
Nice.
So I'm like, things are really growing then. It's weird because my views were going a lot of places, but my followers weren't really like crazy high. You would think for like the sponsorships that I have that I would have like
a bigger audience.
Yeah, like hundreds of thousands. But I think the main thing is that some people have a lot of followers, but their videos aren't very consistent, like in terms of views.
Yeah.
But like I don't really have that many followers. I guess for most people they say that it's a lot, but for me, and when I compare myself to other creators, it isn't really that a lot. But my videos average per views, like per video, is very high.
Yeah.
Like it's higher than most people.
Yeah. So the people who are tuned in your audience, they keep coming from.
Yeah, they watch consistently, and I now I know how kind of my niche kind of works. So I know what I have to post and what works to kind of figure that out.
Yep.
But yeah, so then the whole summer goes by. I'm training. The fall comes, working my butt off. And now in my head, I have no doubt in my head how well I'm about to play. Wow. Like in my head, like I'm gonna go crazy this year. Like I don't know what crazy technically looks like, but at least by the time the season ends, the whole conference is gonna know there's a player named SahrFelix on Temple that's really good. Yeah. Because also at this time too, because of my TikToks, people are looking out for me.
Yeah, people are tuning in.
Yeah,
point,
like
right?
to games and all this stuff. So like,
wow,
people are DMing me, like hitting me up. People are coming to games, like asking questions, like yo, like
people you didn't even know.
People I have no idea who they are.
Wow.
I remember this one kid brought me a poster to one of the games, and like I couldn't even play, but he brought me a poster, and like this is happening pretty consistent. Where people come up to me saying like, we're really looking forward to watching you play, because now people are saying all these things on social media of me playing well, me doing well in practice, how hard I'm working. So now everyone that's been following me for this time is now like, now we want to see
you in game.
Yeah. So like some people may view it as pressure, but for me, I was like so confident in myself then. Yeah. And I had no injuries. I was like, wow, like I'm really gonna show them like this isn't just for videos. Like I'm actually like a good player. Yeah. And then we go up to play St. John's. In my head, like the way the coach is speaking to me, I know that let's say if I don't start, I'm at least gonna get like a half. And then so I'm out there, I'm warming up, I'm getting ready. I'm really excited. Temple has me doing like has me take over their Instagram account to kind of like show like how the game day is. So I'm recording everything. I'm warming up. Guys are getting put in, because I knew that as a forward I would either be first or second sub. But then guys are getting put in, they'll even play my position and getting put in ahead of me. I'm like, whoa, like what's going on? Yeah. I'm like, you know what, like. At this point, I'm still in my grateful era, because like I couldn't play for so long. So me just being able to play, I was happy. Yeah. But then
at some point, man, you'd be like,
but at some point I'm like, this guy plays midfield. Why is he going in at winger? And like this guy is a freshman. Why is he going in ahead of me? So I keep warming up, like trying to keep a good attitude, because I know like, you know what, like once I get in, like I'm gonna do me.
Yep. You speak through the game.
It's only a matter of time. I know how college soccer works, like because the injuries are all different. It's only a matter of time before I get to show myself. So I'm like, you know what? I'm keeping a good attitude. I'm just warming up. First half goes by, and it's like 5 minutes into the second half. I'm warming up, and then after a while, I'm pissed. I'm like, I'm not getting put into this game. Yeah. Like the guys in the bottom of the roster is getting put in. I'm still not getting put in. So in my head, I'm like, what's up? So the assistant coach comes up to me and says, the head coach just told me, but like you're not allowed to play this game. Like compliance hasn't approved you. And at this point, I'm pissed, because what happens in my family like drove up for this game too. They were going to at first, and then now like you have me warming up the whole time like an idiot when you knew this already. Man. And especially because but some of my teammates were like, oh, maybe he didn't want you to have a bad attitude because you couldn't play. I was like, one thing about me at Temple, my attitude was great every day. I woke up grateful. I went there grateful. Even when I was playing bad, I was the most joyful guy. Yeah. Like I made sure that when I leave this place, no one can say a single bad thing about me. Yeah. All you can say is that SahrFelix woke up every day, worked his butt off. Even the assistant coach who left for USF, he's the assistant coach at USF now, sent me like this long voice message saying how great he hit. Like how happy he was able to like meet me and saying that like I'm grateful that like you were like your attitude was always really great.
Wow.
You're very consistent.
Yep.
Which is opposite of what maybe my other coaches would have said because of my injuries. He said, no, you're very consistent. We knew what we want to get out of you every day.
Yeah.
And that's gonna take you really far. And that meant a lot to me. So then so I'm like, no, that can't be it. So yeah, so I wasn't able to play.
Dang.
I'm trying to figure out why. Going through all these different avenues. No one at Temple is really speaking to me.
Man.
And like in terms of the
No
front office.
communication,
Yeah. The head coach already doesn't speak. He doesn't. It's one of those things. If he hears this, I don't care. Like he really, I really don't care. I don't like. He's a cool guy, I guess. But the way he talked to me sometimes and the way he treated the whole situation, I feel is really disrespectful, especially for someone who's like, I've given a lot to the program in terms of notoriety. There's a lot. If you talk to a lot of Temple recruits now, they came to Temple because of my videos.
Wow.
To where like they'll say like they'll come in and be like, I came here and committed here because you made it look like it was so much fun.
Was it only you or was it some other players? He was doing the same thing for other players too.
Yeah, he's doing with a lot. He didn't talk to us, and for me it's okay. I'm okay with him not talking to me. I'm okay with because at Marshall the guy didn't talk to me that much.
Yeah.
But when I spoke to him, he was honest with me of like where I was at. He would at least come in and say hi.
Yeah.
And like acknowledge that like I was in his presence. He didn't really talk that much in general. But he's with that with everybody. But at Temple it was more like, oh, like maybe his two guys he may talk to, everyone else were like trash. Which wasn't something that we fully agreed with. Maybe he had his reasons for it. Maybe he had his reasons for it. You never know. Maybe it's just his personality. But in terms of how I was treated, in terms of the whole process, I just feel like as a player, like I wasn't asking for much.
Exactly.
All I was asking for
communication.
And like either
knowledge
you saying,
about this whole process.
Yeah, either saying, "Hey, I'm working on it," blah blah blah. I don't need you to update me, but it'd be like weeks on end, and I would hear nothing.
Man,
and it's like you don't even care.
Yeah.
And after like this past spring, when you said how well
you were,
and how big of a part I'm gonna be playing, and now that this little inconvenience, and instead of like I don't think you're even working on it.
Yeah.
So then that whole process goes. Weeks go by. And I'm finding out that like there's no way that I play like this fall.
Man.
And yeah, so then from there I was kind of just like moved on, kept practicing with the team, kept going to games, kept cheering everyone on.
Yeah. So, having a good spirit.
Yeah, like even when I couldn't play, I would still show up to every practice.
Yep.
I was always really positive, like always cheered everyone on. Came to games.
Still making your videos.
Yeah, still making my videos, like because I knew that like at this point that I'm not ready to give up anymore. Yeah. Before I was like, okay, maybe I'll give up, but then now I've been healthy, playing well for long enough now to where like no, like I'm not ready to give up now. Like, I'm gonna keep playing. Yep. And like I know that I'm good enough now. So it's one of those things where it's like, you know what, like just keep training, just keep working on it. Maybe something will change. Yep. And yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at now.
So right now you're there, and then you're finishing up, grad school. Yeah. Like what are the next steps? Where do you see yourself in the next year, next 2 years?
So, for me right now, there's two options.
Okay.
There's the option of me playing. Yep. And the option of me not playing.
All right.
So if I'm playing, the goal would be to hopefully this upcoming within the next month or two sign with the USL Championship team. Play there. Play really well. Have a good season.
Keep grinding like you have been.
Yeah. Keep making videos because now. If playing as a pro, your audience becomes bigger because your validity becomes bigger. Keep playing, keep practicing. Hopefully, find a way to get a move up to MLS, and then hopefully by the time
it just goes from there.
Yeah, hopefully by the time my soccer career is over, I can do this social media thing like full time. I've grown enough from there.
Absolutely.
And then the option that I don't keep playing, probably get some type of finance job in DC, use this grad school degree, and then just like live the regular 9 to 5.
Okay. Yeah. Do you see yourself still making some content videos and like still helping out people in some way or anything like that?
People ask me that a lot. Like if I wasn't to play, would I keep making videos? At this point, I just don't really know what I would make videos like of. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because people who follow me now follow me because of soccer. So like, would I make videos about like finance or like day in the life? Like I don't know what I'll make videos of, and I don't really see myself being around the game like that.
Yeah.
Because then like if I don't play, then I'll probably be gravitating more to like I work so hard on grad school, time for me to be making big money then.
Yep.
So it's kind of like, you know what? I just don't really know. Would I like to? Yeah. But is there anything out there that I think I can make, I'm passionate enough about where I can make consistent videos I think people would like and gain a following?
Yep, that is
At this
true.
point, I don't really have that. So those are kind of my two avenues. It's kind of either go here or go here.
Okay. Before we end,
Yeah.
is there any advice you would like to give these athletes in your audience or people who want to go pro or want to play at D1, anything like that?
My biggest advice I guess I would give you guys is things aren't always easy.
Yep.
The route isn't always vertical. Sometimes there's ups and downs. You have to go backwards to take a few steps forward. But as long as you believe in yourself and you go about things the right way, you treat people well, you're respectful, you're grateful for every opportunity you have to be on the field, that sooner or later things are going to change. Hopefully by the time that my journey's over, everyone can kind of see and use me as an example.
Yep.
But till then, just keep believing in yourself, keep being realistic about where you are, and just keep grinding.
Amen. Absolutely. Yeah. Plug in your socials so people could see.
So my Instagram is SahrFelix27, SahrFelix 27. Same thing with Twitter, Snapchat, and then TikTok is SahrFelix_27. And from there you can find my Amazon storefront and all the other stuff.
Perfect. Well, man, it was a pleasure having you on the podcast, man. It was a long time coming. I'm glad we had this talk, and I hope to see you soon. I hope to see you at the next step.
Thanks, bro.